3, 2, 1, we're on.
Oh, we're on and we're live on a rather unusual Friday afternoon here in the Coachella Valley in Indio, California, with Marcia and Yo Reno on the Harp Effect. And if our guest today wasn't exciting enough, he had to come through a flash flood to get here. And so everybody who doesn't already know who he is, this is Prince Fleet Easton.
Yay! Well, hello, Marcia and Reno. I am so happy to be here today. I really am. You're one of my favorite people that I've ever. Well, we never really actually worked together, but we've crossed paths so many times.
No, but you were very instrumental after I left the show, The Follies, and I did the first show at Azul. It was for Kittyland.
Yes.
Yes. And I wanted...
You mean cats.
It's for cats.
Kitty cats.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to... Well, I didn't say I wanted to meet the owner of Azul, but this wonderful friend now knew that I should meet the owner of Azul, who I'm still in touch with. I'm still in touch with him, and I've always felt so, just a bit of like, what do I want to say? Just so much gratitude that you came into my life. Now, keep in mind that after he introduced me, the next thing I knew, he was standing on top of the bar, singing and dancing and flying from one end of it to the other, and he could do it. Let me tell you, he could do it.
Well, what I was going to say is that my friends, when I really like my friends, I like to make opportunities for them, and I like to open doors for them. I mean, I do, not even just in this business. I have a dear friend, Diane, who is an incredible photographer, and we were at a gallery, and she kept saying, she wasn't showing, but she kept saying, I want to have a show, I want to have a show. I said, well, come on. And the same thing, I took her by the hand, and I took her to the gallery owner, and I said, she wants to have a show. And she got a show.
Sometimes I need that little push from somebody like yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
well, it's very hard for we're always taught to kind of be kind of quiet and demure and stuff like that, and it's hard for a lot of people to have that chutzpah to push forward to put yourself out there, and I don't have that issue.
Have you always been that way, or was there like something that clicked and caused the change?
I wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
No. I wanted to mention a dear friend of mine, Lori Davis, out of Canada. She has a course called Self-Worth, and I took it for a year, and after I took that, everything changed. People have a tendency to perceive confidence with ego, and so what happened was I'm very confident at what I do, and you know me personally. I mean, I don't have an ego at what I do. I just do what I do.
No, that's the beauty of you.
But we have this insecurity inside of us that we carry with us all the time. And growing up as a child, we're told, my mother would say things like to me, people don't want to hear people brag about themselves. And, I learned that if you don't toot your own horn, who else is going to toot it, but I was kind of that way, and I wasn't being assertive enough. And then after I took her course, it gave me the self-worth and more confidence to be able to just say, okay, I'm going to do this. So I started just putting myself even out there where I would always maybe be afraid of rejection, because we all have that thing of rejection. And sometimes we have that little voice in us that says we're not good enough. And it stops us from doing the things that we want to do. So what I did was, after I took this course, that voice went away. It's like, and then what happened was, that's when my career started really skyrocketing into a global world. And
indeed, he just recently, I don't know, the airwaves are still hot, where you just noticed that you got this award from, I practiced it, now I can't, global global.
It is. You got me now. It's an international global award from France from Pat Younga, and she has Lux Pop. It's for fashion magazine and all, but they honor people throughout the world.
And they're from Paris.
And from Paris, yeah, they're home based in Paris. But I was selected to be one of the recipients from the United States. Sweet. And it was a shock because sometimes I kind of know things that they tell me ahead of time that I had no idea was coming. And then this year I was very fortunate. I was out of England, a dear friend. I was named one of 100 people in the world of the most inspirational people. So that was really a wonderful surprise too.
Well, you just gave a little example of that.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get her maybe her contact information for people who want to.
Like Lori Davis.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm a big. We have a show actually now we're working on. We've done 2 of them. A podcast. It's called Self-Worth Cinema. So what we do is we do it based on celebrities that have biopics. We did one on Elvis and we did one on Aretha Franklin, and going over her life to where self-worth, it showed where she was lacking in self-worth.
Oh.
You know, we're controlled, as we're growing up, we're controlled by a lot of different factors, as I was talking about earlier, a voice that talks to us and keeps us from doing things, and also being assertive. Like, if anyone that has seen the Elvis movie, it's really, you know, he had an incredible career, but yet it was sad if you really watch it, because he was worked like a workhorse, and it shows you that fame doesn't always bring happiness. It's only a temporary.
His new film that they the documentary, or
no, the one with Austin Butler. It's amazing.
Right.
And it's actually in the film. The film is based on Colonel Tom Parker. He's actually supposed to be the star. He's telling it from his point of view. So he asked the question: was I a miracle worker or was I a con man? So he was a little bit of both.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to interject as he's telling you how he was brought up, you know, not to think that he should boast about himself, that some of his his very early beginnings began in Ohio. And those of you who have tuned in over the last couple of years know that this one is from Barnesville, Ohio. And I've connected with a lot of my classmates and all of that. And how long did you live in Ohio?
Well, I was born in Ohio, and I grew up in an area called Ellett, one of the suburbs, and that's actually where I started my show business career. Let's go back first. At 5, I made my debut with a little small orchestra there, and I was heard singing at Sunday school. And they said, "Oh my gosh, we want you to, would you come and sing something?" So I sang "How Great Thou Art."
Oh, wow.
With the orchestra.
At how old?
5 years old.
Wow.
So that kind of was I tell people, I came in with this. I've never vocally trained ever. The only thing I've taught myself. But it was always there. And then when I was in junior high school, I did a few things. But then when I was 17 years old, all my friends got so tired of me saying, "I want to be in show business. I want to be in show business. I want to be in show business." So one day, one of my dear friends came over and said, "Come on, get in the car." And I said, "Where are we going?" They said, "Don't worry about it. Just get in the car." So they took me to Goodyear Musical Theater, which is a professional equity theater. And I auditioned for a show, got a role, and I knew immediately what I was going to do. The rest of I did 5 shows there. I was there several years. Oh, I got a little story at the end of too. I love telling this. Okay, when I was little, we had a potato masher, a wooden potato masher.
Yes, I know exactly what they look
and
like. Do you?
No.
Ours had like this. It was like that, wood, and then it had a long handle, and you take it and you know, it's like a mortar and pestle type of thing. So I covered it in aluminum foil, And that was my microphone. And all growing up, that was my microphone. And I knew someday I was going to have my own microphone. And that's all I ever dreamed about. And I got it.
And you still have that potato today?
No, I don't. You know what? It's so funny. When I'm out in stores,
right.
I keep looking in these cooking stores, trying to find one that looks just like it, because I want to wrap it in aluminum foil and have it like a keepsake.
I don't have one, but as you're talking, my daddy had a restaurant in Barnesville, and I can still see that wooden potato masher. Mm-hmm. Ooh, you're making me homesick.
Well, so then I did about 5 years, I think I was there, and then it's funny that I went into ballet. And the reason was they started casting me also as a dancer, not only small roles, but as a dancer. So when we would have rehearsals, I was very good at imitating. So you would have thought I had years of training. And they would throw out, French terminology, a glissade assemblée and all. Ooh. And I thought, a pas de bourrée. I thought, you know what? I better learn what they're talking about, because one of these days they're going to find out I'm a fraud. So
have they found out yet?
No. And so I started taking ballet classes, and within 1 year, I was in New York. Taking master classes at Juilliard and Ballet Arts and American Ballet Theater, and I never had to pay for a lesson. I was given scholarship after scholarship. As I said, I was so good at imitating, it looked like I had training all my life. So they just kept giving me all these scholarships. So then they started training me with Vladimir Dolgodovsky, who was a big Russian star. And they were training me to be a premier dancer, which is a lead dancer,
right?
Like a prima ballerina. The other is a male version. So I started getting like really bad pain in my ankles and my knees, and all of my teachers, they walked with crutches and walkers and everything, because you know what? It destroys your body. It's beautiful, but it does a lot of damage to the body, So I went in one day and I said, I'm done. I'm going into show business. And then at the same time, I usually don't talk about this. I was a national skating champion. I was doing all this at the same time. And I did the same thing with that. I came back from nationals and I put my skates on and I went around 3 times and I knew I was done. And I went out to my coaches and I said, I'm done. I'm going into show business, and that's what I did, and never looked back.
Well, when you first started skating, was it on a frozen lake in Ohio?
I started in roller at 10, artistic skating at 10 years old, and then at 19, I decided to move over to ice, and I did that for 1 year. And
did you ever go out on a lake in Ohio?
Did I ever? I think I did once.
Because that's what we used to do.
I think I did once. No, I was out of the Cleveland.
Yeah.
The ice rink.
The ice rink in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Hayes Jenkins and Kara Heiss Jenkins. Those were the coaches.
Wow. Takes me back, I'll tell you. Because the first Broadway show that I ever saw, and I'm thinking it was in Cleveland, but I'm not sure. But a friend of our family said, Marcia has to go see this. And I probably was, 8 years old, something like that, somewhere around there. And it was Brigadoon.
Oh, I love
on
Brigadoon.
The ice.
Oh, really?
Yes,
on ice.
It was Holiday on Ice.
Well, see, that was kind of my dream. I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to really go to the Olympics, but I could go into an ice show. And I thought that was something I wanted to do, but I think that was all kind of my training with dancing and everything.
Absolutely,
it's all part of show business. So you're training, but you're training dancing on ice and on roller skates. So I guess I was training, but I wasn't dance training.
But it was a form of training that most people don't get.
Yeah.
It's part of strength training.
Yeah. Like strength, because Reno has done martial arts and jiu-jitsu and all of that. And and he still can kick his leg really high.
Well, it's all part of the being in the flow,
Yeah.
whether it's dancing, martial arts,
Yeah.
singing, acting. There's a flow, and you gotta
Yeah.
practice and train.
And I was discovered at 10 years old in skating. That's what's funny too. I had went to a session and I was skating around. Like I said, I've always been very capable of doing whatever it is with some kind of degree of,
That sounds like you.
you know, I don't want to say perfection, but I had some degree of ability. So I was skating around, and that's how I was discovered in skating. A coach came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, you are really good, and I think that you should do this." And so they talked to my parents, and that's how I started training. And
Was this in
this
Ohio?
was in
still?
Ohio. Yes, in Ohio.
We're still in
So
Ohio.
you skated till you were a teenager?
I was till I was actually 19, 20 years old.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of years though.
It was. In the last 3 years, I really didn't want to do it. It became a job. I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you'd have to be to the rink till 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I had to go to school, and then by 3 o'clock I had to be back at the rink, and then I was there till like 10 o'clock at night. And for the last 3 years, I kept missing Worlds. You know, it was like one way from Worlds. And every year the coach would say, next year we're going to Worlds. Next year we're going to Worlds. Well, it just never happened, and that's why I just got to where I was tired. You know, I wanted a life outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I was doing that on top of ballet at the same time. So I was doing a lot of things at once.
Were you like self-motivated, or how much did your parents have involvement with you? Would you say?
You know, I loved my parents dearly, but they
Sometimes
had their life and I had mine, and I was traveling all over the country competing and stuff, but you know, they weren't always there. I was an adult. As a child, I was an adult, even in my household.
I get that.
All my friends were like 30 years old and older. I mean, I had very few friends that were my age. So even as an adult, as a child, I was an adult.
Yeah.
And in our household, I was treated like an adult. So I even made some of the decisions in the household. So
you didn't know the difference?
no, I didn't know.
Well, you're a great example of being just self-motivated. When people think they need this, this, and this, you just have to make up your mind.
Yes.
And basically that's what you did, and here he is.
So that was that, and then that's when I decided I was going to go back to Ohio after I left ballet, and I said, when I said I'm going to be in show business, I'm going to become a nightclub entertainer.
Right, I read that.
And so I got a guitar, started teaching myself how to play, and then also at the same time I was taking piano lessons, and I did that for about 6 months and started entering talent contests. And the first one I went out for, I tied for first. They flipped a coin, and of course the other person got it. But the next one I went out for, I have a little bit of like psychic ability of kind of knowing things that are going to happen. And I said,
You two should get together.
I said to my mother, I said, you know what? I'm going to win this. And they're going to love me so much, they're going to hire me. And I went that night, I won. At 4 o'clock the next day, the band leader called me up, hired me, and I was with the band for 4 years.
And this was in Cleveland.
This was in Ohio.
In Ohio,
This was
right.
This was still in Ohio.
Well, wow. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So then when that ended, I started rehearsing for cruise ships. So I was in a show for a cruise ship, and we were in rehearsal for 3 months, and I went to rehearsal, which was being held in Cleveland. So I had to drive to Cleveland for rehearsals from Akron. So it's like about 40 miles or whatever, you know. It was like about, you know.
Right, I'm trying to think of some theater owner people, names. There was a theater in Cleveland.
Well, there was the Cleveland Playhouse.
That's it.
Yes.
That's
well,
it.
That's where Joel Gray started.
Oh, good old
And
Joel.
it's so funny is that he's older than I am. But when I was coming up, people remembered him and they kept saying, "Oh my God, you're another Joel Gray. You're just like Joel Gray." And then when he did Cabaret, it was like, that was my dream role. I wanted to do Cabaret. So, you know, it was like, I'm like, oh, great. And then I was very fortunate. On tour in 94, I was on tour right behind him. So every time they were loading out, we were loading in.
What show were you doing?
I was doing a Christmas Carol. I played Tiny Tim, and God bless us all, everyone. And
Poor Tiny.
that was so funny because after they have a meet and greet and stuff with the cast, and I would have people come up to me. Of course, I was an adult by that time, and I'd have people come up to me and go, "Oh my God, you're a grown man." But on stage, I was like, "Oh, mother," I would talk like this, And then, of course, when you're on tour, you get crazy because after a while, you get kind of goofy. And I was on the road for 3 months. I went to 72 cities, and so you start playing around with the show. So one night, one of the actors said, "Let's see how many times we can put halibut in the show." So when I say to my mother, I go, "Oh, mother, not stone soup again." I went, "Oh, mother, not halibut stew again." And everybody kept throwing halibut in wherever they kept. And just for the halibut. Oh, and during intermission, the stage manager
I can't imagine.
came into the dressing room and goes, "What the hell is this with this halibut? You're going to stop it right now." So, you do funny things. And then one night they did to me, the lady who was playing Mrs. Fezziwig, her father had an accident and broke his neck. So they came to me and said, "We think it would be very interesting if you played Mrs. Fezziwig on top of Tiny Tim."
In the same play?
In the same play. We're never on stage at the same time. So
that would be hard to do.
Yeah. So it was so funny. So funny. Oh, so I ended up playing Mrs. Fezziwig. I had 1 day to learn the whole role. So, this is what I'm telling you. So, I have this scene where I have it's Christmas Eve, and I have a box for Ebenezer. So I'm showing my husband, and I'm going, "Oh, look at that. I made this just for Ebenezer. Oh, look what I made." And I opened up the box, and every night they'd put something different in it. And I went, "Oh, look. It's a pair of boxer shorts with little fatties skiing on them. Aren't I clever?" And every night, I never knew what was going to be in the box. Well, they didn't like that either.
Well, no.
But it was a lot of fun. So, like I said,
now see,
I like his voices.
He does voices.
"Oh, Ebenezer." Well, like I said, I had 24 hours to figure out how to do that. And then when I got the show, they had already been in rehearsal for 3 months and had already went through 3 Tiny Tims.
Wow.
So I was like, and they were going out on the road in 1 week. I get the script. I get a tape recorder. I do the whole script, and I play all the characters. And I lived with it in my ear, playing nonstop for 1 week. Then I recorded it and took my voice out, still doing, and then I answered it live. And so I had to fly to San Diego from Florida. That's why I was in Florida. I had to fly to San Diego, and the director says, "Come with me." So he took me in a room, and he quizzed me. And we're going through everything, and he goes, "Oh my God." He said, "These people have been in rehearsal for 3 months, and you know this show better than they do."
Oh.
So that's how I got to Florida was because of the cruise ship. They went bankrupt. So that's how I ended up in Florida, and then I did that, and I sang with the orchestra. And I'm sure you want to ask me questions, and so I'm just taking over here.
No, that's
how I got my.
But it's the story you're telling.
Well, that's how I got my television show in Florida. I did a television show. They asked me one question. I didn't come up for air for 25 minutes, and they go at the end of the show afterwards. They go, "You are wonderful. Would you like a job?" So I ended up being a host of a television show. Go ahead.
But see, how wonderful, because I love it when things go well for people that are nice people who care, because Fleet has a side to him that is just, well, it's not just a side, it's your being, of being, well, that's what you picked out, that you we were reading over your bios and your interviews, and I knew, a lot about you, but nowhere near the extent of what you had come
you
through.
said something about you have what you have and where you are, but you still got to give, or something to
Well,
that.
no, my mantra is to move forward, you must give back.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. And that's why when I moved here, I immediately got involved with Well in the Desert, and I fed the homeless 5 days a week for many years. And I think I did close to almost 200 charity events, up to the point to where I got my star. I mean, I was involved in everything.
Here.
Well,
and for those who don't know, the star he's talking about is or on the sidewalk, or so to speak,
yes,
of in the like
Palm Canyon.
On Palm Canyon, and you only get that if you are a star, and so
an exceptional star.
An exceptional star. Yeah, sometimes people can get it if they have the money. So, but
well, I just heard that it went up like really the price of it. I know my star was $12,500, but I heard it went way up.
well, they're running out of sidewalk space.
Really?
Yeah, they're kind of doing the sidewalks now.
Oh yeah, now
you don't want to be over
well,
there.
and mine is in front of the old Azul nightclub, Paris and George. And they, I had been there for almost 8 years with the cabaret show, and then I had my own show there for several years.
Okay.
So they asked, would you put it in front? And I said, sure, yeah, of course I would.
And we did, Paris and George that he's speaking about are the owners of this Azul restaurant where he performed for many years, and where I first met Fleet, and he introduced me to these owners who now own Crazy Mel's Burgers in Palm Springs, right on, I want to say on Palm Canyon. As long as I've been here, I still get whether it's Palm Canyon or Indian Canyon. And it was so much fun to go there, and they were just in the process, right down the little alleyway from where they are is where Marilyn Monroe has finally found her setting, and the big statue of Marilyn Monroe. But Paris and George have been very dear in my life, and so yours as well.
Yes. Well, they gave me the opportunity to have my own show, which I had Evening with the Prince. And every week I would have a guest star. And then I had my dear friend Catelyn Day, who played Fifi, the upstairs maid, when there was no upstairs. But she's the upstairs maid. So I brought her in on the cast, and we had every week we had a different star starring with us.
She's delightful.
Yes.
I don't know her
and
well.
she's the Palm Springs Marilyn Monroe. If you don't know that, you can Google her up. Catelyn Day.
Catelyn Day.
I met her a couple of times.
You did?
And you know what? This is so funny. You know how we met? When I first moved here, I went to the Palm Canyon Theater. I was there early. Nobody else was there. I was sitting in the little lobby out front there. I was at the front. She came in the back door. She looked at me and she went, "You're an angel."
Oh.
And that's how we met.
What show were they? I
don't know what show. She was in the show at the time. I
couple
don't know
shows
what show
there.
was. Did you? I've never done a show there.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the people. I just never have done a show there.
Have a couple of those little statues from it. Too.
I know. You know what? I know. That's another story. That's another story we're not going to talk about. I never have gotten a Desert Theater League Award. Never.
Well, have you been in a production that
yes.
was you've been pretty solo along
well,
the way.
I did a few productions.
And then you did get the Entertainer of the Year.
I got the Desert Idol. I won the Desert Idol competition, 2009, I think it was. I moved here in 2007, and that's a story I got to tell too, because this is important. Okay, this is how I got to Palm Springs. This was not anything in my vision. And I have vision boards. This was not my vision. So I was singing with a 52-piece orchestra. And while on stage, I have a voice that talks to me, and no, I'm not crazy or schizophrenic. It tells me what I'm supposed to do, and it always leads me to my successes. I learned in 2000 when it first started speaking to me to always listen to it. So I was singing with this 52-piece orchestra for, I think it was about 5,000 people, and it starts coming into my head and it's saying, you must go to Palm Springs, California. You have to be there to meet the people who are going to take you to the next place in your life and career. Now, I had been here on tour. I didn't know anybody at all. I'd met Bella DeBall once. Well, it was really weird. I was going into revivals, and it was closed. They were having a a mixer for like the
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. That's it. And so I met him in the parking lot, and he said, "You want to come in?" So we walked in, and that was all I ever knew of anybody in Palm Springs. I never met anybody. So I flew back. I had flown back to Florida, and that's where I was. And that's when The Voice came in, and I thought, okay, I did meet this person, and he had a cabaret show. I should contact him because if I go there, I'll have a job. Because I didn't want to show up with no job. So I went to my family and all, and I said, oh my God, I've got to go to Palm Springs because The Voice is telling me I got to go. And everybody said, you're crazy. Don't go. You're successful here. Like I said, I was co-hosting a television show. I was singing with the Bel Canto Ensemble, singing opera. I was starring in the Brevard Theatrical Ensemble, doing classical theater. I was also doing reports for NASA on the shuttle launches. And I was doing something else in there also that went out of my mind. But I had five jobs. I had 5 jobs.
Remembered all that.
I had 5 jobs. So everybody said, you're crazy. You're doing really well here. Why do you have to go? I said, The Voice said I have to go. Plus, I was working in Orlando doing movies and television, and that's a secondary market. And I wanted more.
Which he's getting now because he just had, 3 movies come out or 2?
Yes, 2 movies, and I'm getting ready to go into an international film. But I want to mention Diane Miro, who was the makeup artist on the TV series The Cape that I was on. I played a Russian cosmonaut. And they kill me. And it's so funny. She just wrote something on my wall the other day. And now that was many, many, many moons ago. And I was laughing because I told her, I kept saying, I'm above the line. I'm above the line. You know what that means? That means when you are speaking cast members. Below the line is extras.
Extras, right.
Yeah,
right.
atmosphere. And I kept saying, I'm above the line. Because I was doing featured extra work. So I said, I'm above the line, but I said, I don't understand it. And it's so funny. She wrote on my wall yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we were laughing. And she said, I always knew it. I always knew you were above the line. Thank you, Diane. She was incredible.
Now, where is she located?
She's in Florida. So.
And so, Reno, sometimes what Fleet is saying to me, I think of you in some of your life and how it progressed from one thing and now. I mean, did you ever you persevered, you just do it, you put it out there. And this is what I'm all about in terms of people who have given up their dancing, given up their singing, given up their knitting, given up their painting, their horn, piano player, everything. And my theme is you can't do that. And what an example. And then Reno starts a new career. How many years ago?
8 years now.
8 years, okay. As a realtor after having a flooring company.
Wow.
How do you put that?
I was on my hands and knees for 35 years.
Wow.
But it's even what you two do. You're an entrepreneur. You're self-employed, so you got to be self-motivated. And I don't think this next generation coming up is going to fare very well if they don't, look at people like us here or others out there. I don't know what the secret is to get them to realize that. If there is.
We try through people like you, Fleet, because I have known what an influence you are on inspiring people and
thank you.
and all of it. No, and it goes through the ranks. I mean, people, what you're always spoken of very highly.
Oh.
And to tell the world that you are the way you started, and I mean, kind of like my story, but he got the big awards. And I got
but you're still making a difference.
Thank you.
You know,
and to
and
make
it's
You know
like
what? Here's the thing. You never know what tomorrow will bring. You know,
Yep.
That's right.
I live, well, see, I'm very spiritual, and I'm also an ordained minister. And I live on the same, God will supply. God always supplies, no matter what. And so you never know what tomorrow's surprise is going to bring. I always am excited because I don't know what tomorrow, you know, every day something like, well, you saw on my post with the star pin that was presented to me from the jewelers. I mean, these things just, I tell people, I don't plan anything. It just shows up at my door. All these things that happen for me in my life, I don't pursue. I do what I do. I guess I do pursue it in some way. I do what I do, but I don't go after it. It just comes to me. Do you understand that?
I do, because I feel that recently, and a lot of it has to do with the influence of Reno and how he projects his life. And now I'm listening to you, and I mean, I do too. I mean, I did get I got into my high school Hall of Fame. I'm in my high school Hall of Fame, and Barnes. That means a lot to me. Let me tell you, because anybody tuning in that we know.
I see people down there.
Yep, and they're probably, if they're friends of yours, we want to see if anybody wants to know anything about you that you're not telling. And but I think that is so amazing is that he's come through all of that, and I can identify with that so well. I mean, I moved so many times. My brother said, sometimes I think you're just one step ahead of the law.
Yeah.
Who's watching?
Luca.
Oh, hi, Luca.
Luca. I love what I the only thing I can say is I love what I do. It's the complete essence of who I am. I can never imagine ever doing anything else in my life. And this is what my dream was at 5 years old. And I knew, I came in knowing that this was going to happen. I just didn't know how it was going to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. And it's still climbing. And that's what's just amazing, that all these years in the business, and yes, you know, when you're in show business, it's like a wave. You know, you climb and you have some success, then you go back down, then you come up again, you go back down, and you keep praying or hoping or believing that you're going to then finally get over that really big hill that's going to take you globally. And so I've been nationally like this, you know. Now, all of a sudden, the whole world is opening up, and I'm becoming global. And I've said it for probably 25 years. Everybody I've ever worked with whatever acting company, I want to be global. I want to be global. I want to be global. I want to be all over the world. And here's what the funny part is. When the pandemic came, right before that, people kept saying, you need to go into the internet. You need to learn how to do all that stuff. I said, I don't want to do that. That's not what I do. I'm an actor and a singer. I don't want to learn that stuff. Well, the pandemic came along and forced everybody into doing it. And either you got on the train or you were left behind. So what it did, I never stopped working. So I started doing shows all over the world, being an MC, singing for shows all over, doing interviews all over the world, and it was amazing. And how I first knew that I had some kind of impact was I did a show out of England. And the lady says to me, do you know how famous you are here? I said, no, I have no idea. I said, I'm just living my life in Palm Springs, California. And doing. She says, when we announced that you were going to be on the show, we had over 1,000 responses of people that couldn't wait for you to be on the show. And it's like, okay, all right, okay.
So it's amazing. I mean, how I use that term I know we don't like the word amazing because you go beyond it. It takes, whatever, but it's like to achieve that and to have the attitude and the demeanor that you have, still supported with your confidence. And
I'm like a child. I'm like a little kid.
Well, say hi to Luca because he's
Hi,
watching.
Luca. No, I'm like a little child with what I do. I mean, I still have the excitement and wonder that I had when I was little. It never has waned.
And
Well,
I
shut
think
up,
this-
Peter Pan.
And that I keep waiting for Kathy Rigby to get off that.
Is she still doing the Peter
I
Pan?
don't know. I was actually watching a thing the other day with the one also did it.
Sandy Duncan?
Sandy Duncan.
Sandy Duncan.
I watched an interview with Sandy Duncan, and she was talking about it. She said, "I did it till I couldn't do it anymore. It was just too taxing on her body."
Sure.
But my dream was always to fly on wires. Oh my God, and it's still my dream. Except for I don't want to be like really high, because I saw when Celine Dion opened at Caesars, her first big show, she did a piece, first time I ever saw your face, in a beam of light with this other guy. They're both on wires, and they're like in and out of each other like a couple. And they went up into the beam of light that was like 100 feet or more up into the beam.
Ooh.
And I watched that and I was sweating going, it's beautiful, but I don't want to go up there. I got a height thing. I have a height challenge.
Then how'd they get him down?
I don't know. Well, I'm sure there was probably some kind of scaffolding in the ceiling.
Oh,
part.
right.
But it was absolutely beautiful. I don't know if it's on YouTube. You ought to Google it. It's gorgeous.
I heard it was really beautiful. Yes, I did.
I'd be thinking how hot that light was as it got
Oh
closer
yeah,
and closer.
it was just one big beam, coming down on them.
Who else do we have over there?
Kathy Crawley.
Oh, Kathy, hi, how are you?
Hi, Kathy.
Thank you for joining us today.
We were with Kathy the last time I saw
Yes,
you.
we were. Katie, hi, how are you?
Now, Katie, I knew from day one coming to the desert, and Mike, her husband, one night I was doing a show and I wanted it videoed, and Mike just came and videoed the show, and I kept saying, "Oh, you don't have to do, oh, really? How much?" And it was just wonderful. And
well, Katie's a dancer. Well, she's choreographing a show right now for I think it's at Heritage Palms.
Heritage Palms, I'll bet. Well, let me know, Katie, when
yeah.
it's going to be on, so we can come and see it.
Exactly. She's in show business too. She's one of us.
And who else do we?
That's all right now, but I think sometimes it's just the hour.
Yeah, it's just
but
the
people
hour.
always
But
come on
we
later.
have on the playbacks. We've been pushing like 500 views and
Wow.
stuff. Yeah, we're doing really well. And oh my goodness,
Well, I just want to name a couple other people if I could.
Yes,
Okay?
absolutely.
Well, we just had the world premiere of one of the movies I did, which is Team of Two, written and starring Josh Gomez, and also co-starring Lorenzo Lamas, Mark Singer, and
Lorenzo
Lamas, Mark Singer, and Eric Roberts.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say- and Fleet.
And Fleet, yes, thank you very much. I played Detective Johnson in the film. It was really a lot of fun.
Actually, if you go on Facebook, there's
You can see the trailer.
from YouTube.
You can see the trailer. of
The
it,
trailer
yeah.
on the name the movie again.
Team of Two.
Team of Two, because I saw some of those and they were absolutely.
Well, it was really fun because I was really. Oh, that's another thing. I mean, he called me out of the blue and offered me this role. Like I said, it just shows up at my doorstep, and he said, we're going to work together in other feature films. But I wanted to say, working with Mark Singer, who, if anybody knows the Beastmaster, you can Google him up. What a wonderful person he is. I told him the other night on the red carpet, I said, I have worked with Sir Anthony Hopkins, and I put you in that same category as one of the most generous actors I've ever worked with. Because we have some scenes together in the film, and we just connected immediately on set. And he just wanted to kind of hang out with me. So when we had a scene coming up, he said, I want to give you a gift. I want to choreograph our scene.
Whoa.
And I said, okay. He said, how do you feel about that? I said, well, I'm okay with it, but I don't know about the director. You know, I'm not going to step on the director's toes. So he said, oh, don't worry about it. So we choreographed a really great scene, a fight scene that we have. And he, like I said, something about it. And the minute I got to the red carpet, the premiere, he saw me and he went, oh, Prince. And he said, come here. And he said, let's get some photos together on the red carpet. So we just had this instant connection.
Were those some of the ones that came out that I saw?
Yes,
Well, now you have one more because we're starting to run.
Yes,
out
and
on-
Hashtag Blessed. Hashtag Blessed is out now.
What is it?
The movie is Hashtag Blessed. It's a Christmas film. It's
Hashtag.
it's won like 25 or 30 awards already. It won a Cannes Film Festival. I also, you can hear me in the soundtrack singing Why Can't Christmas Be Here Every Day, written by my dear friend Keith Williams and Joni Weston. And I also appear in the film. I do a cameo as an MC for the Big Christmas Festival. And now I was just offered an international film, which is called The Lost Ship. And it's going to start shooting in November till February.
Where?
It's gonna, all over the world. But I'm going to be shooting all my stuff in Los Angeles. It has to do with around 1942, right after Hitler's death. Hitler had a ship of gold and stuff, and it disappeared. So that's what the film's all about.
Wow.
And,
That sounds like fun.
and actually, the director from India, he contacted me and he says, I wrote this for you. So he wrote me into the film. And I'm taking German right now, learning German, because I'm kind of like Hitler's favorite singer. I was his favorite singer. So I'm going to be singing a song that Hitler wrote in the film, in German.
It's an actual song that
It's
he
an
did.
actual, yeah. People don't know that he was a songwriter. He was also an artist. Even for all the evil he did, there was another side to him. He was a very art. If you Google his paintings, you're blown away that this man had so much creativity, yet he misdirected it.
Yes, he certainly did. And
Yes.
you are the example of one who has all this going for you, and you're not going to misdirect it because you're just going forward like a laser beam.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful. And
Thank
I think
you.
that if we can all sort of just digest all that Fleet has said to us, you know, it's my theme, keep on keeping on, and I truly believe that you should be doing what you love to do. And
Well, I was going to say, my dear friend Jackie Goldberg, that I work with a lot, Pink in Hollywood, her, you know her, don't you?
well, yes, I do.
And her theme is, it's not over until I say it's over. And she just turned 90. I was at her birthday party last week, and this woman is still producing television and appearing
Well,
in
she
movies.
actually called me about being on the show, and it
Oh,
was
fantastic.
well, she was coming to the desert.
Yes.
but it was
Oh,
right
that-
before the pandemic,
Okay,
and then that
You got to get
really
reconnected.
kind of like disconnected things.
okay.
And
You might have been on the list I gave her. I gave her a list of people.
no, I think Les Michaels.
Oh, did okay?
Yeah,
Because
but
I gave
maybe-
her a list of people who I thought she should interview.
Well, maybe that list should
Well,
be brought
Maybe
up
she has
again.
to be reminded. Hint, hint.
Hi, Pink Lady. Yes, yes, I know, but she's had some wonderful guests and things, and I blamed it on the pandemic.
Yes.
And moved right forward. Okay. I know we're like just.
I think we need a part two.
we're part two.
Yeah.
I'm just getting started.
Okay, part two coming up. What before long? Before you take off on this
Okay.
world tour of filming your next film, I'm so thankful and so grateful. Number one, that he's my friend. That he's been brought into my life at when I first came to the desert, and he's still considered. I still consider him my friend. But I'm so excited for him because, as you can tell just from the things he said, this is where good does pay off, because that's why it's going for you, and you've persevered and you've continued to put it out there. And what was it? You said something to me this morning, Reno, that really reminded me of Fleet's attitude about putting things out where you make them happen?
Yeah, I say a lot of things.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I journal all the time, and just there's things that stick in your head, and then you just go through life, and one will pop out at the right time when you're talking to people, but it's just a way of life. And
so, yes, we will have to definitely have part
gosh,
2
yes.
because this is absolutely fabulous.
So how is the best way to follow you? I mean, your
Well,
website?
the best way to follow me, I don't really have a website right now, but I do. I always tell people if you want to follow me, of course on Facebook, Prince Fleet Easton, and I always ask if you've seen me on this show, send me a private message telling me that you saw me on the Harp Effect, and I will add you to my friends list. And then also 123 Fleet Easton on Instagram.
And then we'll repost it in a couple of days, all this information.
Yes, he will put it out again just for people to see, so that you can connect with Fleet and follow him as he continues to soar. He's just soaring, and I think it's wonderful because all of us need to stick together. Those of us who believe that there's still good out there, and we're going to be a part of it, right?
Yep.
I also want to thank my Hamilton Media family for one of my songs is on their network right now, which is, I think it covers like 3,000. It's called We Will Carry On. And I want to thank them so much for having me part of your family.
Who are they?
Hamilton Media out of New York. They're not New York, on the East Coast.
Hamilton Media.
Oh, say hi to Alan Jensen and Gary Mortimer.
Oh, do you know Gary? Do you know Alan?
Yes, I know Gary Moore. Yes.
And Alan Jensen?
I think I know. Yeah, I know Alan.
Of course you do. And,
Yeah.
and Alan now is the director and of the Neurovitality Center in Palm Springs, where he has incorporated an open mic on Wednesday nights.
Oh, okay. And I saw that you are at the bank. I saw your video. And, Michelle, the owner of the bank.
Did you meet the owner, babe?
What's her name? Yeah, Michelle. But she's asked me many times to also perform there, but I never have. And I saw your video and you were doing it. It was fabulous.
Thank you. Well, they have a beautiful stage.
Oh, yeah.
They have a beautiful stage. Yes.
Come on in.
Oh, is our friend Celeste?
Yeah.
Yes, Celeste.
Get out of the rain.
That lives close by, and Celeste is coming through the door. But before we close off, I have to say to you that may everything that has been reduced to noise in you become music again. Mm-hmm. And remember that friendship and music has no distance. Thank you so much for being here.
Friendship, it's a perfect friendship.
We love you. Yes,
Take care.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Take care. God bless.